Hello. Hello, everybody out there. Welcome to our wonderful stream today. We have lots of wonderful people here for you to meet, and we have lots of information about our wonderful programs. I'm excited to be here today for Giving Tuesday. We are actually raising $50,000 today. We are manifesting that. And we are doing incredibly well so far with the fundraiser, but we do absolutely need everyone's help. Thanks to a group of donors, we actually have a dollar for dollar match going on for Giving Tuesday, and it's been a wonderful day so far. We're trying to raise $50,000 today, and we are currently at 23,768. So we are almost halfway there. So if you can help us by clicking the link I've just put in the comments and donate, help us get to that goal. Everything you donate means double for us today. So we're really happy about that and excited to be here to tell you a little more about trans families, who we are, what we do, a little bit about ourselves. So we're going to start out by going around the room and introducing ourselves. We're going to give our pronouns and your favorite morning beverage. So I am going to go like, oh, there we go. All right, this way, and this is Odetta.
Hi, everybody. Thanks for joining us. My name is Odetta. My pronouns are they, them. I'm the director of programs here at TransFamilies, and hands down, my favorite morning beverage is coffee.
And let's have Aiden. We'll go around in a clockwise direction.
Great. Aiden, Key, he, him pronouns. And it probably will come as no surprise that coffee might be on my list as well. I've graduated, or actually whatever the opposite of graduation is, to decaf. So maybe that's a sign of my age. I'm not sure, but I'll pass to maybe Nico then next.
That's right.
Hi everyone, my name is Nico. My pronouns are they, them, and he, him. I am the program manager at TransFamilies. So I work on parent programming as well as youth programs. And this should come as no surprise because I always have a green mug of something in the morning, but my favorite drink is matcha. It's part of my daily routine and self-care, which I love.
Thank you.
Pass it to Casper.
Hi, I'm Casper. I'm a program coordinator, and I'm also on Team Coffee. I like instant, especially Cafe Bustelo. It's the only instant coffee that doesn't taste bad that I've found.
Luana.
I guess that makes me next. Hey, everyone. I'm Luana Johnson, the executive director here at TransFamilies. And I recently, I would say maybe in the last month or so, started drinking my coffee in the morning a little bit different. And that is, well, I always had coffee with a little almond creamer, but now I add MCT oil and a little bit of ghee butter and a touch of raw honey. And then that is just the perfect liquid pep talk I need in the morning.
Wow. I have heard about putting ghee in coffee and how lovely that can be.
Yes. And I've done that over the years here and there, but now this is my, like, it adds a little bit of that richness that you just can't get anywhere else. So anyway, that's what keeps me going in the morning.
Nice.
And my pronouns are she, her.
Thank you. And I am Rebel. I am the development manager at TransFamilies. My pronouns are they, them. And I have the same thing every single morning. I have 1 cup of coffee with half and half, and then I have a cup of some kind of black tea, usually Earl Grey because I love bergamot, sometimes Assam, or some kind of lovely blend. And that is what I do every day with a splash of milk. I like a splash of half and half in that as well. So that's me and my 1 cup of coffee. And then I have 1 cup of black tea, usually Earl Grey because I love bergamot, some kind of lovely blend. And that is what I do every day with a splash of half and half in that as well. So that's me and my 1 cup of coffee. And then I have 1 cup of black tea, usually Earl Grey because I love bergamot, some kind of lovely blend. And that is what I do every day with a splash of half and half in that as well. So that's me and my morning beverage. I would love now to just go around in the same way that we just did and have everyone talk a little bit about what you do at Trans Families and maybe a little bit about what brought you to this work. So that, Odetta, is you again.
It is. Say that again. We're going to talk about what we do and
Yeah.
maybe what brought us to the work.
Yes.
Thank you. Thank you.
Absolutely.
So what I do is a little bit of everything, but my main focus is to plan out the year for programming for our members, young and old, new, and folks have been with us for longer. And I primarily work with new memberships and new member support, doing orientations, and also just working in conjunction with the program team and also the rest of the larger team to make sure that the programming that we're bringing to you is in line with our mission and in line with what you have asked for. And and that brings me a lot of pleasure, and I'm always excited about interfacing with our members directly. What brought me here is a kiddo who would, at this point, would rather not be named, and so I won't because they're a young adult now. But I do have a child of my own who's trans and came here like most of you all out there watching today, listening today, to get support so that I could be the best parent that I could be to raise a child that was healthy and proud of their gender identity.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Aiden. If you would like to talk a little bit about yourself and what brought you to this work.
Yeah. Gosh, well, it's my personal journey that brought me to this work. So my own foray into the land of gender and trying to find that solid, authentic place that the world still is largely not ready for, ready to receive so well. So that's what got me started. The real game changer was when I met parents and other caregivers of gender diverse youth. It was pretty profound to not only know and understand that a young person could find words, speak them aloud, and that a parent would be there receptive to that and interested, as scared as they might be, interested in supporting them. So I did kind of a real redirect with respect to the gender work that I'd already been doing. Currently in the organization, I work with Revel on development. I work with Odetta and Nico with respect to the parent groups. What else do I do? So some donor stewardship. Did I cover it? That's kind of the general gist of it. There's a few other side projects and things like that. Engaging with Seattle Children's Hospital on a project that they have is one of those. So that's my entry into this world.
Hey, thank you so much, Aiden. Nico, you are the next one.
My turn, yay. So I'm the program manager. I do a few different buckets of things. So I help manage parent programs. So typically that looks like our online support groups. Sometimes that could be more operational logistics stuff, but sometimes it is designing programs or jumping in to facilitate. And along with Odetta, I also help facilitate the orientation. So really welcoming new parents into the organization, learning more about what they're looking for, what their needs are, and then doing my best to match them with the appropriate resources or what programs or groups that we offer that might help them and support their journey. I also oversee youth programs. So we have a Discord for teens who are all teen children of trans families parents and caregivers. And then I also facilitate our Kids Spark program, which is our 8 to 10-year-olds group. That's a really wonderful program. We make art together, read books, just do a lot of different social support activities, which is really fun. And then if you've ever received our newsletter, I am like the program representative for the newsletter and help to put that together, which is also great. And for how I got to TransFamilies or why I'm in this work, it's also due to my personal journey. So I came into my, I guess, more explicit awareness around my transness at the end of college. You know, I had always had a feeling, but being able to like really put language to it and find community was really life-changing. And around that same time, I had started to do youth work. So I had done youth work for about 7 years, working especially with LGBTQ plus youth, especially trans youth. And at this queer youth community center I worked at, I started to manage our training programs. So then I was able to work with more parents and adults as well. So that really, I guess, planted that seed of interest in me. Worked a bit in the reproductive justice movement too, just really thinking about the whole family system and bodily autonomy. And I feel like TransFamilies is a great place for me to be right now because I get to combine all of those different passions and also use my personal journey of how I've grown as a trans individual, and I've also grown with my own parents and family as well. Yeah, so that's a little bit about me. I'll pass it to Casper.
I do a lot of the back-end support with things like if you filled out an intake form, I'm the one who sends you that email saying, "Here's how you schedule an orientation," and just a lot of other stuff like that. I like to think of it as like janitorial, but for systems. No, I like that. Everybody else doesn't like that I call it that, but I think it's funny. For just whatever backend systems, database, the email inboxes. And how I got here is my parents in 2015 after I came out at the dentist. And they were trying to figure out what you're supposed to do when your kid comes out as trans. And it just the being in the growing up being in the teen support group, by the end of it I didn't want to leave, so then I joined the youth leadership program for a couple of years, and then I still didn't want to leave, and then they hired me.
It is true. Yay.
Awesome.
Luana, you are next.
Thank you. Wow, man. Well, I think I probably got here through a very tangled web, and started long ago in reproductive justice. So similar to Nico, and reproductive health and sexuality education, and fighting for the rights for people to just learn how to talk about and manage and learn about their bodies, and which led me to then learning more about gender and gender identity, and how that impacted people, and then having connection to my own family members who identified not as transgender necessarily. In particular, my cousin Randy, who refuses to identify as a gender or even transgender. And so thinking that, and so watching how I'm going to say he, she, they, because Randy said to me, "I know who I am. I don't need to have a definition or a label that someone else created." So that's what I sort of go with. And so that's how I came to the learning of like, whoa, who is this person about, and what does this mean? And learning that you can show up authentically as yourself, regardless of what the world is saying about you or around you. And then learning how Randy got that sort of support from my mother that I didn't know about and recently learned, and that helped them really step into their own purpose and identity. So So that's how I came to this work, just in trying to understand and learn. And how I got here to Trans Families is I actually shied away from this work at first because I was thinking, I don't have the same story as most of our members and most of our staff. Like, how can I be a representative in this work? And so, but then I, was reminded and continuing to talk to folks and talk to my cousin Randy, who impacted me so much for so long and for so many years, that power isn't the same as sameness. Like, empowering people isn't the same, and that it's about the connection, and that it's really being able to support people in living boldly and unapologetically. And that helped me connect to my own story, and realizing that I could help create spaces for others to shine, and that's where the magic happens. So no matter where you're coming from. So I decided to go ahead and accept the calling, right? Accept the calling, which is really a continuation of the work that I've been doing for many, many years. And I love this community and this group of people who are working together to ensure that all of you are supported. And so it's just gotten into my heart and soul, and I'm really happy to be here.
Yay. Thank you so much, Luana. And we're so glad you're here. So before I go to myself, I am going to show a very quick video from Lisa, who couldn't be here. She is our IT manager, and she actually made this video when she started, which was what, 2022, because it was the same time as Odetta. So yeah, in the summer of 2022, and she couldn't make it back then either. So she made this video introducing herself, which is why it sounds a little bit like she's new. She's not. But she is our IT manager. She works magic. I know our site's been up and down a lot lately, but she has been part of the reason it's been up as much as it has. And we are doing some exciting things in the future that will help that situation get much, much better. But first, I'm going to show Lisa's video.
Hi, I'm Lisa. I use she, her pronouns. I am the portal manager and was hired in August. I'm very excited to bring as many resources electronically to our families as I possibly can. And I look forward to working with everyone.
Yay! That's our Lisa. And we miss her from here, but we get to see her in meetings, and we love that. And then I am Revel. I'm the development manager. Many of you have heard from me. If you've ever donated, you've heard from me to say thank you so much for your donation, because we appreciate every one of you in our community. And I have been doing development and fundraising for 33 years now. And that is a long time to have been in development and fundraising. And yeah, it was super exciting for me back when I first saw the not ad, but the job description, the job advertisement for this job, to see something that was so much about me as a trans person with a trans kid. And I was over the moon to be able to apply and actually have my pronouns in my application, in my cover letter, and be able to openly talk about myself and who I am in that cover letter. And it seemed like a wonderful, joyous fit. So I've been here since 2019, working on fundraising for trans families, and that's a lot of what brought me here. Is just that it's so much a part of who I am and what I do anyway. So it's wonderful to use the skills I've built over 33 years to be able to do this for everyone in our community now. So yay. Thank you, everybody, for your introductions and your discussions about what you do. I'm wondering next if we could just talk a little bit about what TransFamilies actually does. And I think Odetta, I would love to hear from you. What do we do? What does trans family do? What is it?
What is it? I love that we have this. We have Give a Spark at a time seasonally when there are so many celebrations about and rituals and observations, and the season is participating along with us in terms of nature about being a light in the darkness. And here we come right at the peak of that with our Give a Spark fundraiser. And that is because we are the only nonprofit in the nation that centers parents in the work of ensuring best outcomes for trans and non-binary children of all ages. And we know that parents who are resilient, who feel confident and empowered, educated, have community, we know that they are able then to raise children who also feel resilient, empowered, confident, who also have community, see their parents doing this good work because of them. They know that they have value. And that is why we are here, is to make sure that parents are able to do that with their children. We have in our mission statement, we talk about creating a visible pathway to getting to these outcomes. And for me, we talk about this in orientation. Parents are that visible pathway. So we're here to lift you up as parents, caregivers, pivotal adults of trans and non-binary children of all ages. We're here to lift you up, to be a light in the darkness, and to shine on that visible pathway for your children. And it is a privilege. So many times we have people saying, oh, thank you for doing this work. And wow, I can't imagine a greater privilege. I've been advocating for families and parents in nonprofit venues and organizations for over 25 years. And there's no place I'd rather be than here, advocating for our families, for our parents, giving them what they need, providing the support groups, working with our volunteers, giving our volunteers what they need so that they can be great facilitators, coming up with the programming that we know that folks need, thinking about the partners that we can network with so that, we do our one thing and we do it really well. So I'm always looking for folks who have other things, have other skills, expertise that our families would benefit from, so that they can come in and we can partner together, because we can't do all the work, but we, just like we gather with y'all in community to strengthen, we gather with other folks who are doing work. We network with them so that they can come in and do the pieces that we don't necessarily have the bandwidth for. So we can't do it all. But what we do offer, we're really proud of, and we know that it's a necessary niche in the darkness.
Thank you so much. Yeah, that was beautiful. And that actually helps lead into the next thing I wanted to talk about a little bit, which was if anybody would like to share any moments from this last year that kind of fed your soul in the work that we do at TransFamilies. Just something that, some experiences that, of course, making sure to keep people anonymous, but any experiences that you had that just really like made you go, this is why I do what I do. Does anybody have any stories like that?
Well, I would offer, Nico and I do orientations three or 4 days a week, and we typically do them at the end of the day. We have 2 or 3 sessions at between 2 and 5 o'clock. And, that's not I don't know about the rest of y'all, but that's not my peak time of day. I'm a early morning person. And so by mid-afternoon, I start to get to drag a little bit, but I know that I have a new member coming in who could be feeling all kinds of different ways and really need someone to sit and listen. And it's amazing how after 2 or 3 sessions, orientation sessions with a new member, all of a sudden it's 5 o'clock in the evening, and my cup is so full because we've been privileged to sit one-on-one with parents and hear their stories and hear their concerns and their gratitude for the work that we do, and that they have found us. They have found community. What are you looking for? I really just need community, and I'm so glad you're here. I can't believe you're taking this time. And it's so humbling, and fills my cup so much to end my day that way, because then I'm able to say thank you for trusting us, for coming, sitting with a stranger, sharing your most intimate concerns and worries about your treasure. Our children are our treasures, and to bring those to a stranger in a Zoom meeting with an open heart and takes so much courage. And it's just it's profound at the end of the day that we get to do this work. It's amazing. I can't believe it. And I'm going to pass it to Nico, because I know Nico has a similar experience. So I'd love it, Nico, for you to share too, because you're newer to the work.
Yeah, to be trusted in that type of space is not something that, we ever take lightly. I feel like it is a privilege to be able to hold space and offer that support in these moments. And our families come from all different walks of life, whether it be different regions of the US, different race, ethnicities. I've had calls with parents that are similar to my own, Asian immigrants, and others who are very different. But being able to be that, I guess, soft or safe landing place for them to go to. I've had parents tell me, "You are the first trans person I've ever talked to outside of my child," or "You're the first trans adult I've ever met." And, to see someone who is able to have like a happy, joyful, fulfilling life, it means a lot to them. Um, and also just to hear not only the struggles or challenges, but the joys of parenting a trans child. To be able to see their child light up when they're able to be called, their name and referred to with the correct pronouns, and able to dress or have a haircut that really affirms them. Being able to see different parts of that journey, and then able to connect them to other parents that are similar and different than them. And I think what's great about our support groups is that we have folks at very different parts of their journey. So sometimes have parents who come like 1 week after their child comes out, they're like, "Let me sign up, let me get an orientation." And then we have parents who have had their kids out for, 10, 15 or so years and are older, and they're able to give their wisdom and lessons they've learned through the process. And then the new parents are also able to provide that fresh perspective, which is really amazing. I was in a support group that I was helping to facilitate a few weeks ago, and someone had asked me, "Oh, is there something you wish that your parents or adults in your life would have done for you growing up and as a trans person?" And I thought about it for a minute, and I felt that I still wanted that joy to be centered, because I think in such a challenging political climate, there can be a lot of despair, a lot of fear, and rightfully so. Like, we really want to be able to help our kids navigate these challenges, but also the beautiful parts about trans is coming into your own, being able to be authentically who you are. Um, Growing up, I wish that would have been affirmed as well. And a lot of the parents in that space were like, "Whoa, that really like shifts my thinking, my framework around this," because it's not just, a deficit, even though a lot of dominant society wants us to believe that. Um, so being able to be that like person to help guide, while still like respecting agency and knowing that they are the ones who, will know their children best at the end of the day. Um, yeah, it's been a great learning experience for me as well.
Yeah, that's lovely. That reminds me too of, so I co-facilitate the parents of non-binary children group, and as a non-binary person, as well as a parent of a trans kid, I have a really unique perspective that I can share with the parents in that group. And like you said, Nico, they get to see an adult trans person who is successful and is moving through life with joy, as well as all the other things that, everybody's feeling right now. But I love to be able to talk about my own experiences to help them understand, but also have them see a person who is a representation of what their kid could be someday. And I love being able to do that. And also, one of the things that came to mind um, for me was a recent meeting that we had a while back, where everybody was there because they just wanted community. They didn't have any questions. They didn't have any things specifically that they needed to talk about. They just wanted to be around other people who understand what it's like to have a trans kid. And it was lovely. I just, that's what we can be. It's a community for parents who need that support. And I love not even support, just community. Like, I mean, support too, of course, but being here as a community. And I think more than ever this month, since November 5th, we've really seen that, that people want that community. They need it. They want that space to feel like they can talk and just be with other people. Does anybody else have any moments you'd like to share? Aiden,
Yeah.
I'd love to
Well,
hear.
yeah, because a number of you, maybe all of you, have mentioned the word moment or moments. I think about some of those early support groups where I would talk to them about what I referred to as the moment with all capital letters. And that is the moment of disclosure to someone else. So for any of us as trans or non-binary people, we know those moments. For parents and caregivers, they know those moments of disclosing more about their child's experience, which is also disclosing a lot about their experience and how they're moving forward. So when I think about moments, I have to go back to one of the first really pivotal times where many years ago, actually, at our conference that we had, a parent came up to express gratitude for the event, and it was really lovely. It happens right and left during the event, and especially by the time we've been through a few days, and people are really wide open, and every feeling is on the surface. And so this parent came up and said, hey, thank you, blah, 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 which that's kind of how I heard it, right? But she said, see that kid over there? That's my kid. And this kid was a teenager riding on the shoulders of another teenager, laughing, being silly, having a great time. And she leaned in and said, that is the first time I have seen my child smile for years. We both burst into tears in that. So fast forward to even thinking about, what are the moments now? I think it's been about 18 years of watching these young ones grow up. And two of them from about 18 years ago are still in touch. And even more recently, as young adults venturing out into the world, are letting me know their journey, connecting with me in ways that, that defy our generational difference, and providing me continued valuable learning that I get to then cycle back into our support groups, for example. What does it mean when a child moves through those social transition steps at 3 or 4 years old, makes their way through their K through 12 schooling, moves on to whatever other adventures they are, whether their gender history is something that they share openly or are private about it. And those folks are having moments as well. I'm thinking about two particular young people, and they're openly and vulnerably sharing those moments with me and how they're navigating that. And especially because both of these young people are pretty dang private and have been their entire lives about their gender history. So what happens for them in that moment of disclosure when they're trusting another human, and trust me that when I'm listening, I'm on the edge of my seat because I don't know how that's going to go. And watching their confidence build as they do that, and watching as something happens that I never thought possible, because I've always said we have no choice but to be all the way out or all the way in. Because if we tell one person about our gender story, there's no guarantee that that person is going to hold that confidence, even if we ask them and they agree. Sometimes it's too big or heavy for a person to hold, and they just I've always said that, and I'm not right anymore. And that is because we have seen the landscape change, and our organization has been part, I want to say huge part, of facilitating that change in the world, where these young people can trust others to maintain their confidence and move about their lives without having it be central to their experience every day with every person. So those are the thoughts that came to mind, with that single word, moment.
Yeah, moment is a good word.
Mm-hmm.
Any other moments from people, or should I do an update? Because we have an update. I am going to put in the chat the link to the fundraiser because, as I mentioned earlier, we are raising $50,000 for Giving Tuesday. And we have a group of donors who are giving a match. They're matching every donation dollar for dollar. And so everything that you donate right now is matched double and means twice as much to TransFamilies. So since we started the stream, we have we are now at $29,768. So thank you to everyone who's donated over this last 45 minutes. We appreciate it very, very much. And we are super, oh, somebody else just did. Wait, let me refresh. I think we're over 29.8 now, but we are having some trouble with the website. Some of you may have noticed the donation website. I think it's a Give Lively is an organization that supports lots of nonprofits with donation websites, and it's Giving Tuesday. So I think it's been going up and down throughout the day. If it doesn't work the first time, please be patient and try again, because they've been working on fixing things as soon as they come up. And it won't refresh now. So that, I don't know. But yes, 29,768, hopefully even a little bit more than that. So thank you to everybody who's donated, and please help us reach our goal by the end of the day. That's pretty good. I have to say, that is what, 59%. We're at 59% of our goal. So that's pretty good. I'm very excited about that. And thanks to everybody. I wanted to next just talk a little bit about maybe some like takeaways that parents can have. Maybe people, books, media, things that have influenced you, or something that you would recommend for parents who have a trans non-binary child. Besides TransFamilies, of course, please come to our support groups, and please contact us for an orientation and all of that. But what else would you recommend? Something that has helped you, or something that has helped others that you've seen out there in the world?
I would love to remind folks about our amazing partners at the Transformations Project. So that S is very important, because there's Transformation Project, which is a trans supporting organization. But our friends that we work with is the name of their organization is TransFamilies Project. And they, like us, fill a niche area that has always been important. And I know from conversations that we've had with parents in the last few weeks is going to be more important in the upcoming years. So what they do is they provide the only forward-facing platform that summarizes all the anti-trans legislation that's going on in the country, state by state, in a way that is digestible by the general public. It's not for policymakers. It is for people like parents who have busy lives and also have anxieties and concerns and worries about the future and how do we keep up? How do we know what the credible resources are? How do we vet these things? Well, we have done some of that work for you because of the generous donations that we get during these fundraisers. TransFamilies was able to attend a national conference last year where we met these wonderful people. Really, there's two of them and the rest is volunteer done. It's grassroots. And they are committed to providing this platform that I referred to, where you can go look at your state and you can see what the anti-trans legislation is, what it where it is in the process that it's going through legislatively, what it potentially could mean for trans folks that are addressed in the legislation, and who are the people behind it, who's pushing it through, which of your representatives are the loudest voices behind that. And so this is an amazing tool for our mental health, because now we know, oh, I don't have to watch all this news, or I don't have to try to figure out what's relevant to me. I can go to this platform, I can look up my state, and I can see very quickly what's going on, and then I can detach from it and be present for the other things that are important in my life. The other thing, I lost my train of thought there. So mental health, yes. And also as an advocacy tool. There we go. Thank you. I'm getting there. Yeah, I told you afternoon's not my peak time. As an advocacy tool, this is invaluable because of the work that these folks have done to say, hey, this is who's behind this. This is who's pushing this through. These are the people you don't want to support down the road, et cetera. And so I just really, as a parent myself, I know how busy we are. I know there's only a few hours during the day and we don't have time to sort through all the information. TransFamilies Project has done that work for you. Your donations allowed us to do the work for you of meeting these people, talking with them face to face, getting to know them, and knowing that they would be a credible, viable resource. They were thrilled to work with us because they are trying to reach people just like you. TransFamilies Project.
Yep, and Nico looked up the address for me, so I put it in the chat. Thank you, Nico, for doing that.
Thank you. Yes.
And yeah, that webinar was great. It was a wonderful webinar back in April.
Yes, last April. That's that
like
is
a very long time ago, but it
was a long time ago. We're gonna ask them to come back this year as part of our ongoing advocacy series. Because we know everybody didn't get to see it, and we know there's going to be more news. So
yeah,
we want to see them again. Yeah. Thanks, Nico.
Of course, and they have a really awesome weekly newsletter that just gives weekly updates on what's happening in the legislative session, what to be aware of, all the different states. So I definitely recommend subscribing to them.
And I think just the importance of it being digestible and it means I have definitely found for myself that I have to carefully guard my energy right now, and I think all of us do. And I want to give my energy to my family, my friends, and my community. And I don't want to give my energy to people being upset on the internet. And a lot of the stuff that's happening right now, I want to know. I need to know for my own safety, for my family's safety, for all of that. But I don't necessarily want to delve into it constantly. So something like Transformations Project is such a great resource, to be able to know what's happening without having to give it so much of your energy, and be able to still give your energy into your family and the joy that you can create right now. The resistance of that is joy. Absolutely. So anybody else have some resources that you would like to talk about? Nico and I read some wonderful books this morning. You can go check that stream out. It's still on our Facebook and YouTube if you want to look at it. And if you have younger kiddos, there's some great books, and I showed some of the other books at the end that I have as well, and we talked about some of those. So I think those are wonderful too.
You know, in our support groups, there's those early days, that very first group, second group, where our families are contemplating. They're not necessarily even contemplating how to be supportive yet. They're contemplating if they should be supportive. And so, you know, we scoop them up and do our best to suggest that, yes, it's okay to be supportive. And then, you know, what does that look like? We talk about those things in our groups. And then they say, how do I send my kid to school? They'll get to a place of feeling that shift. And then they think, I can't send my child out the door. So while it might seem like, you know, a shameless plug here, I did write a resource, a book called Trans Children in Today's Schools, that really pulled together those, you know, over 15 plus years of experiences of families as they're navigating the school environments. You know, what are those principles bump up against? What do the families of trans and non-binary youth bump up against? How about the questions from the second graders? How do the 16-year-olds respond? What does a teacher face? And the big one, which tends to be, but what about all the other parents and their fears and concerns? That's kind of the collectively, not individually, but collectively feels like the ogre in the room that is difficult to manage. So definitely the Trans Children in Today's Schools is a great resource, either for a family themselves or for handing off to your school administrator or school counselor. And even one of those young people that I mentioned that that I've known since she was 3, she said she read the book. I couldn't believe it. So I if that's a something you want to pop into the chat, that'd be fantastic as well.
I have to say too that it sounds like Aiden's voice. Like I've read it, and it is Aiden's voice. You can hear him talking. You can hear him saying all the stuff in there.
Even in the audio?
I haven't read the audio. I can't do audiobooks. But when I was reading the text, I was like, this is Aiden. It's totally Aiden. I mean, because sometimes when somebody writes a book, it doesn't sound like them anymore. Like somebody's edited it or something, and I'm sure you had editors, but it still sounds like you. So I thought that was cool.
I guess if that's a good thing, I'll
think
accept
it's a
that.
good thing. I think it's totally a good thing.
Excellent. Yeah.
Yeah.
And let me just say one more thing about it, because the writing took a long time, you know, hit and miss here and there. And when it was in the completion stages, it was pre-legislative nightmares. And so in general, the work that has occurred over those many, many years happened whether there were legislative protections in place or not. And so I feel and hope, deeply hope, that it is still a resource that people can use to create more gender inclusion within their child's school, or that those educators could do steps they could take, regardless of how friendly or unfriendly their state is with respect to legalities, and yeah, just that kind of stuff. So that's my hope.
Cool. Thank you, Aiden.
Yeah.
One of the things I've been doing lately is I always have read a lot of fantasy and science fiction because it's an escape. Books are an escape for me. So um, I've been reading a lot of fantasy and science fiction lately that's cozy. And I really like, there's this whole kind of genre of cozy fantasy where like queer couples are doing like opening a tea shop and or a bookstore or but one of them kills dragons, or just things like that. So I've been reading a lot of books like that lately, and one I just barely finished that was really good is called Non-Player Character, and the main character is a non-binary asexual autistic person, and there's a whole group of people playing D&D together, and their D&D becomes kind of real. And that's all I'm going to say, but I really enjoyed it, and I love those things because of the joy aspect of who we are, and what we do here too is trying to maintain that joy, and lift up the joy that we have, because we need to do that. So
I loved it
any
when you. Oh, I just wanted
go
to say
ahead.
I loved the reference to slaying dragons because that's also what we do.
Yep, true.
Our fears about the future, our fears about can we be enough for our children, our anxieties about what we don't know yet. Those can all feel like insurmountable things, and really together in community, that's what we're doing. We're slaying those dragons.
Yeah.
And when you said that, I'm like, yes, that's a metaphor for what we're all doing together. It's conquering those monsters in the darkness,
Yeah.
and they are conquerable.
Yep. Especially together.
Especially together. That's
Yeah.
right.
Anyone else have some final thoughts as we go out of our stream today? Final thoughts? We are at 29,818, by the way. So yay. Go ahead, Luana. Sorry.
I mean, I will just say one thing. It's sort of piggybacking on what Odetta said earlier about parents and caregivers and those pivotal adults, and that that when we think about risk and protective factors, that parents and parent support and connection to their children is the super protector. That is a super protector. And so the more that we can support all of you in supporting your children, um, just allows for that, and the research is shown that allows for them to grow and develop and succeed in very meaningful ways. And so just wanted to sort of put an exclamation point on that part, that why we're doing this work is because parents are so important, and parents and caregivers, I'm going to add, we now say also pivotal adults, are so important. And so we want to support you in the best way that we can so that you can support your children in the best way that you can.
Yeah, that's wonderful. That's a great closing too. Thank you so much, Luana. I am just going to quickly put our link to the fundraiser in the chat and remind you that we are here for Giving Tuesday, trying to raise, or we are raising $50,000 today for Giving Tuesday, and we're 60% of the way there. We can do this. We can do this with all of you. Thank you to everyone for joining us today. Thank you so much for everything that you do. And thank you for all the likes and hearts and all the wonderful comments. And we will see you next time. Bye.